Thank you, Ohio. My name is Chris Christie. I'm the governor of New Jersey, and I am proud to endorse Donald Trump for President of the United States. America needs strength in the Oval Office again. We need to get rid of this hand-wringing, weak president, and we'll do it in November with Donald Trump. America needs a president who will once again stand up for Americans, put them back to work, and create wealth in this nation. The Democrats have failed us, and Donald J. Trump will help America get great again. We need a leader once again who will mean what he says and say what he means, and we know who that person is, Donald J. Trump. Now listen, Ohio, get ready. Get ready, because in the next 2 weeks, his desperate opponents will say and do anything to try to tear him down, but you know the truth. The strong leader in this race is Donald J. Trump. Senator Rubio is on the air, desperate, with every... Senator Cruz is on the air. We do not need two twins from Washington, D.C. in the Oval Office, do we? Washington, D.C. has betrayed you, has betrayed this country. We need someone to go down there and turn it upside down, and that's Donald Trump. They're out there telling the same kind of lies that Washington politicians do all the time. And I got a question for you. Do you know when a Washington politician is lying? His lips are moving. And by the way, we're just warming up, because we're getting ready for the biggest Washington politician of them all, Hillary Clinton. Here we come. And so it is time. We need Ohio not just to be ready today on Super Tuesday, but we need you to be ready over the next 2 weeks. Get out to your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, everyone you can talk to, and ask them, do you want America to be great again? Well, then you have to help us make America great again, and you will by going out there and supporting Donald Trump for the next 2 weeks and on the 15th of March. Are you ready to vote? Well, I know you're going to work hard over the next 2 weeks. I know you're going to do the best you can for this man and everything he's sacrificing for this nation. And so let me stop talking and introduce to you the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Wow, thank you. So fantastic. Well, you know, I love Ohio. I have a long history with Ohio because you probably read I worked in Ohio when I was young on a job, and it was really my first successful job. It was a job very young, and it was Swifton Village, Cincinnati, Ohio, the Queen City, great place. And my father and I bought it, and I moved out here, and I stayed out here for the summers, and it was a really amazing experience. We bought it. It was a failed job. It had 1,194 apartments, and we bought it. We bought it for almost nothing, and we sold it for a lot of money. It was a great experience. I mean, it was a great experience. That's like sinking the first putt. You know, you feel good about yourself. And my father said, "Boy, you did a great job." I said, "Dad, I'm going to do a good job always. Don't worry about it." But I always loved it. I always loved Ohio, and I loved that experience. It was such a positive experience and so great. I want to congratulate, first of all, you have a great coach. How about Urban Meyer? How about Urban Meyer? And a great football team, and you're going to have a great season, so you're going to have a good time. And he's somebody that said such nice things about me. And I don't know if he endorsed me or not, but he said awfully nice things about me. And I'm going to have to meet him, I think, right? I have to meet him. But he's an amazing guy. I mean, when you think you come from one school and you have such success, and then you come to Ohio State and you have some success, you just don't see that. That's called talent. That's what we need in our country. We need talent. So this all began on June 16th, standing in New York City at Trump Tower and standing with my wife, who did a beautiful job last night on Anderson Cooper, I have to tell you. She did a great job. And standing there, oh, we're going to build the wall, don't worry about it. Oh, we'll build the wall. That wall is getting taller with every interview these ex-Mexican presidents do. Getting taller, taller. It's getting up there, I'll tell you what. Did you ever see such anger? The ex-Mexican president. Oh, I like my plane better than that, right? Did you ever see such anger? You know, it's very interesting. I have to, let's get to this for 1 second, because the anger of Vicente Fox, the ex-president of Mexico, was unbelievable. And to think that, and he used a horrible word. Can you imagine if I would have used that word? Oh, front page headlines. Nobody even talks about the word he used. I keep saying, what about his foul language? What about, they don't write it. Boy, would they write it if I said that word. I won't repeat the word because they'll make a big deal out of it. But he used horrible language. But more importantly, he was so angry. And the reason he was angry wasn't the wall that you bring up. The reason he was angry is that nobody ever speaks to these countries with authority. We're like the whipping post where everyone takes. And essentially he said, how dare you speak to Mexico like this? Now, just so you understand, I love the Hispanic people. I just won in Nevada, as you know. We won all of them. But I just won in Nevada, and they did a poll of the Hispanics, and I won by a lot over second place, by a lot. We're going to win the Hispanic vote. We're going to do great, because I'm going to bring jobs back from China. I'm going to bring jobs back from Japan. We're bringing our jobs back, folks. We're bringing our jobs back. But the anger of ex-President Fox, it's almost like, how dare you? They've got to get used to it. They've got to get used to it, folks, because we're going to reverse the tables. And you know what? The interesting thing, we will have a better relationship with Mexico than we have now. We don't have a good relationship. Remember Sergeant Tamburisi, who was in, and he was in jail. We couldn't get him out. I helped him along after he got out. I helped him a lot, actually. But we couldn't get him out. All right, that looks nice. Don't we love it? It's always nice. We couldn't get him out of jail, and we had a president that I don't think he made one phone call. I don't think he made a phone call, and he was in there for a long, long period of time. So we're going to get the respect of other nations. We lose, as an example, with Mexico, $58 billion a year on trade. So we have a trade deficit. We have a trade deficit of $58 billion. And when they say the wall, these politicians come up to me and they say, Donald, you don't really mean Mexico's going to pay for the wall. I said, you don't understand. 100%. They go, no way you're going to get them to pay. They used to say, no way you're going to build the wall. Now, the other day, I hear this Rubio, I call him, correct. I call him Little Marco. Hello, Marco. He said I had small hands. Actually, I'm 6'3", not 6'2", but he said I had small hands. They're not small, are they? I never heard that one before. I've always had people say, Donald, you have the most beautiful hands. Right? No, I never heard that one. But that's politicians. They do this stuff. And he wanted to be Don Rickles, and it hasn't worked because he's gone down. He's gone down. But I see this guy, and he's doing a thing. We will build a wall. I said, where did this come from all of a sudden? And the same thing with Ted Cruz. I call him Lion Ted. We will build a wall, he says. Lion Ted, we will build a wall. Anything you do, you take a position, and then you see him on television when he's not around you, and he says exactly the opposite of what your position is. The only advantage I have is that we have a big, big speaker out there. We have a lot of people, so we can call people when they lie. But these politicians are bad. I mean, they lie, and we're going to get it straightened out, folks. We don't have to lie. We don't have to lie. We don't have to lie. So it all began on June 16th, the famous escalator ride. And I said to my wife, we got to do it. Oh, good. They're friends. Thank you. Thank you. I was hoping it was a protester so the cameras would show what a big crowd we have. Oh, so many false stories. So many. The only way they show our crowds is when there's a protester. And sometimes I'm going to have to start doing this. Would anybody like to play protester today? I'd like to put them right in the corner of that room, right in the corner. You know, for a long time I said, oh, the cameras are very modern, they don't move. Because my wife would always say, you never show the crowd. And then one day we had a protester, and those cameras, they bend like a pretzel. Believe me, they move. Because it's negative. Because I'll tell you what, the media is the most dishonest. These are worse than politicians. They are the most true. They are the most dishonest people that you'll deal with. They know what's going on. A story was written last night from a failed paper in Iowa. Can you believe it? And a failed paper in Iowa. And it was a story about me having people evicted from one of my rallies. And I was in the airplane. I have nothing to do with it. I show up. I didn't even know anything happened. And they wrote this vicious story, and it gets picked up by everybody. And this is a paper that's an enemy of ours with a writer who is horrible. And they pick it up all over the place. And they said Donald Trump ordered them out. I was in my plane. I was traveling. I didn't even know these people. They are such liars. They are disgusting people, I'm telling you, most of them. No, you have about 20% of them that are good. 10%, by the way, I have to say 10% are actually great. 20% are good, but for the most part, the worst. So here's some good news. This just came out. I have to tell you before we get to the escalator. CNN, Trump, 49. Lightweight Senator Marco Rubio, 16. Lion Ted Cruz, 15. Good guy, he is a good guy. Ben Carson, 10%. And did you ever hear of a guy named Kasich? I won't. We'll save that for after tonight, right? We'll be back. We'll be saving it for after tonight. Because I'll tell you what, we really want to win Ohio. We're going to win Ohio. And we're up. You know, the beauty is we're up quite a bit against him. He's your sitting governor. And I always say, and I say it respectfully, and I like him, but it helps when your state happens to hit oil. Do you agree? Doesn't that help? It does help. You hit oil. Fracking is a great thing. What's happened with fracking, what's happened with energy, and what's going on with energy is a great thing. Now, in Florida, I think I'm like 21 points up on a senator that never shows up. He hasn't shown up to vote. He's got the worst voting record in the United States Senate. And I'll tell you, honestly, he's defrauded the state of Florida because he got elected and he doesn't vote. He doesn't do anything. He's passed nothing. Ted has passed nothing. Ted will filibuster, but you got to do more than filibuster. You got to get people to do something. You got to get bills passed. You got to get other people to go in and pass good legislation that's going to be positive, not just stand up there, talk. 99 guys are watching him. And they're saying, when is this guy going to get the hell so we can get back? You got to get people somehow to work together. Our country is so unbelievably divided. It's divided politically. It's divided among white and black. It's divided in so many ways. We're going to bring our country together, folks. We're going to bring it together. We have to bring it together. And people don't know that about me. I bring people together. You know, when I say that sometimes, I'll get a snicker from the wise guys in the press. It can't get worse than it is right now. You have African-American youth 59% unemployment. You have African Americans in their prime, just so badly treated in terms of unemployment. We're going to bring this country of ours, we're going to bring it together. You know, our theme is Make America Great Again, right? Well, honestly, we want to make it great for everybody. We want to make it great for everybody. And we're going to do it. We're going to bring it together. So when I came down, I said to my wife, and let me tell you, it takes guts to run for president. I'm not a politician. I never did. I've employed tens of thousands of people over the years. I've employed thousands and thousands of Hispanics. That's why I'm doing well with Hispanics. They understand what's going on. But, and I'll give you an example. The United States government has a job that they're putting out to bid. They put it out 2 years ago. Oh, I hear a noise. Hello? Hello? Is that a friendly noise or an unfriendly noise? All right. Goodbye, darling. Never ends. Never ends. Never ends. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Goodbye. By the way, do we love our police? They do such a great job. They do such a great job. They are so underappreciated. And do we love our vets? We're going to take care of our vets, folks. And we're going to rebuild our military. It's totally depleted. We're going to rebuild our military. Bigger, better, stronger. And nobody's going to mess with us again, folks. Nobody. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Do we love each other in this room? It's love. It's love. Hey, a friend of mine comes to see me, and he's a very, very successful guy. And I was speaking in front of a crowd of 21,000 people. The other night in Alabama, we had 35,000 people in a football field. And he was there. It was a smaller crowd, 21,000, right? And he's a really successful guy, somebody that you all sort of would have heard of from a business success. And he said, how do you do that? He said, if I have to speak in front of 10 people, I can't sleep at night. I said, let me tell you something. There is such love in those rooms, in those stadiums, in those areas that I speak. It's actually easy. There's love. It's like a family. It's love. It really is, too. It really is. It's love. So when I came down that escalator, I said, you know what? Let's just do it. And I took a deep breath. I went, whoa. And I came down with Melania, and I looked at what was going on with that horrible, horrible, horrible Iran deal. You look at that horrible deal. We give $150 billion. We get nothing. We get nothing. And you look at our trade deals. They're the worst ever, ever, ever. And we can't go on like this. We cannot continue to lose hundreds of billions of dollars with various countries, China being the worst abuser. And I like China. I have the biggest bank in the world from China, my tenant. I sell tens of millions of dollars worth of condos to Chinese people. I get along great with China. I mean, they're killing us. Their leaders are too smart for our leaders. In Mexico, their leaders are too smart for our leaders. Which is this group here. Get them out of here. Get them out. Out, 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 out. Is the Trump rally the most fun? Seriously. Right? You know, I had two yesterday. We went to Virginia. We went to Georgia. We had two great rallies, big rallies, lots of people, thousands and thousands of people. The first one had quite a few protesters. We had to stop about 3 or 4 times. The second one had none. The second speech I made was better. But you know what? It was more boring. I like the first one more. I love my protesters. We love our protesters, right? So anyway. So what's happening is China this year we're going to have a trade imbalance. We're going to have disruptive. I call it disruptive because that's what it is. But we're going to have a trade deficit of $500 billion, folks. It's not happening anymore. Not going to happen anymore. They've taken our jobs. They've taken our money. They've taken our manufacturing. They've taken our base. Not going to happen anymore. And then I have these guys. I'm a free trader. But free trade has to be smart trade. It has to be equal trade. We can't let these people, these so-called eggheads, and by the way, I guarantee you, my IQ is much higher than theirs, all right? You know, somebody said the other day, yes, well, the intellectuals. I said, what's intellectual? I'm smarter than they are. Many of the people in this audience are smarter than they are. The intellectuals, you know, like they're smart people. These are the same people, the pundits. The pundits. I could tell you every one of them. I mean, I know them so well. I hate to mention their names because you give them credit. But no matter what you do, it's never, like, up to them. The pundits. So they're saying, Trump will never run. Then I run. Then they say, oh, this is terrible. Then they say, Trump will never sign Form A. That's where you sign your entire life away. I signed Form A. Then they say, well, Trump will never put in his financials because maybe he's not as successful as people think. And then I put in almost 100 pages on time. I didn't even ask. They said he'll ask for delays. I put them in. I had accountants working almost 100, working around the clock. And the numbers turned out to be far, far, far bigger, better assets. I have the best assets in the world, very little debt, tremendous cash flow. And I don't say that in a bragging way. I say it because that's the kind of thinking that our country needs. We need that kind of thinking. So I built a great company, an incredible company, and then I built so much. And then we had The Apprentice. I mean, one of the most successful shows in decades on television. Tremendous show, tremendous success. By the way, NBC renewed me. They wanted to renew me for many, many episodes because we did great last year. After 14 seasons, it was doing great. And I said, I can't do it. Steve Burke of Comcast came up, a great guy, the boss. He said, Donald, we want to renew you. I said, no, Steve, I'm running for president. I can't do it. You know, you're not allowed to do it because of equal time laws. I said, Steve, I still love it. I said, Steve, I'm running for president. He said, no, you're not. No, you're not. And they renewed it. I said, Steve, I'm not doing it. He said, I don't think you're going to run. Everybody said, I don't think you're going to run. And then I ran. And we picked Arnold Schwarzenegger to be the guy. How will Arnold do compared to Trump? I don't know. You got to be very quick. You got to be. Look at the people in the back of the room. Look at that. We can't. The people are still pouring in. Do you think they'll write that? They'll never write that. They'll say, Donald Trump came to Ohio today and he spoke in front of a gathering. There's no gathering. This is one hell of a big hangar. And this place is packed. This place is packed. So I give up a lot. I mean, I give up a 2-hour primetime show. I give up deals. I give up a lot of things. I've written many books, bestsellers, many bestsellers. The Art of the Deal is the #1 selling business book of all time. And by the way, Barack Obama did not read it. John Kerry did not read it, believe me. They did not read it. So I came down the escalator and I said a little thing about trade. And I said, this is going to be about trade. And then during the speech, I said, illegal immigration. I started talking about it. Believe me, folks, illegal immigration has turned out to be one of the really big factors in this entire campaign. You wouldn't even be talking about it. You wouldn't be hearing about it if I didn't take all that heat and mention that in my first speech. You wouldn't even be talking about it. And then it turned out that illegal immigration is a much bigger deal than people understood. The crime is incredible. And then you see Kate, beautiful Kate in San Francisco, get shot in the back by a guy that's been here 5 different times he came over, and probably a lot more than that. And then you see other things. Jamil, whose father is an incredible guy who I got to know. He became a friend of mine. Jamil, going to have a football scholarship, great quarterback, great student, going to get a scholarship to the best colleges. And he's a young boy, and he gets shot in the face 3 or 4 times in the face, going home to see his father, walking on the sidewalk, not touching anybody, not talking to anybody, this great young man. And you see the veteran, a female, 65 years old, raped, sodomized, and killed in Los Angeles. And you know what? And you say, and that's 3. There are hundreds. It's out of control. And then you see what happens with the economy, and you see what's going on with drugs pouring through our system. And drugs in New Hampshire, you know, I won New Hampshire, and I made a commitment to the people of New Hampshire. I said, I'm going to stop heroin from coming in. It's coming in right through. We're going to stop it. We're going to stop it all over the country. But I made a commitment. I'll tell you what, New Hampshire, incredible people, because they sort of got me started. We go to New Hampshire. I wasn't favored to win. We won in a landslide. Then we go to, right? Then we go to South Carolina, where the evangelicals are unbelievable people. Unbelievable people. We go to, right? We go to South Carolina, and what happens? I win in a landslide. What happened? And I won with every single group, every single state I won. I won with every single group. Then we go to Nevada, same thing. We won with the rich. We won with the less than rich. We won with the highly educated. We won with the less than educated. And I always say, I love those people. I love them. I do love them. And we won with everything. We won with men. We won with women. We won with evangelicals. We won with the military. We won with the vets. We won with everybody. And there's a movement going on. There really is. There's a movement going on. 3 weeks ago, Time magazine did the cover story on this movement. They say, in the history of American politics, the history of the United States, there has never been anything like this that's happened. There's never. And I've been watching this Nikki Haley, and so from South Carolina, she's up and she's saying, if you remember her little speech, where she goes and said, well, you know, she was referring to me, so I can practically use the name. But he says, there's great anger, essentially, on behalf of Donald Trump and the people that are with Donald Trump. And by the way, we have the most loyal people in the world. These people are incredible. Every poll shows I can do practically anything, maybe even anything, and nobody's going to leave. Leave me if I do something bad, though. That's okay. Don't worry. But I won't. But they say they're the most loyal, where we have this incredible percentage of people. In fact, they said the other night on television, those people will never leave. Whereas other people, they'll leave like if you sneezed incorrectly, they'll leave. They're gone. They're gone. But Nikki Haley said, there's great anger, and he's showing great anger. And I said to myself, that's interesting. I think she's referring to me. And she's referring to the people, of which I think we have a majority, big by far, in the country. And so what I did is during the debate, 2 debates ago, they said, Mr. Trump, are you angry? Now, I was supposed to say, oh, no, I'm not angry. I'm thrilled with the way the country is being run. Isn't it brilliant? Isn't it brilliant? We get nothing, right? We have bad trade deals. We have bad everything, bad prisoner swaps. How about our famous prisoner swap? 5 for 1, right? 5 for 1. We get a dirty, rotten traitor. They get 5 people that they want desperately. And remember this, 5 people at least were killed going after this guy. We have a real unemployment rate well into the 20s. You know, it's a phony number. That number was developed, this number of 5%. That number to get there was developed by politicians to make them look good. Do you think I'd have a crowd like this if we didn't have tremendous unemployment? Our economy stinks. China and everyone else is stealing our jobs. Mexico just took Carrier. You know all about Carrier, right? I see it on television 2 weeks ago. Wonderful people. They could be us. Wonderful people. 1,400 being told by some executive, we're moving to Mexico. Sorry, folks, you're laid off. The devastation of those people, good product. The devastation of those people was horrible to watch it. And I said to people, you know, I'm a free trader, and to be conservative, you're supposed to be a free trader. But you got to be a smart trader. I don't want to say I'm highly anything anymore. I say I am a common sense conservative. Is that okay? Because these so-called conservatives, these, you know, hardliners, Donald Trump is calling for a tax on goods coming into our country. Well, if China taxes us, which they do big league and nobody even talks about it, then I'm going to tax them the same amount, okay? All right? Now, what I'm going to do, and I'll tell you, we're losing a lot of our businesses. Pfizer is leaving. Massive Pfizer, the big pharmaceutical company, they're moving. You heard about it. They're leaving our country. Thousands and thousands of jobs. They're moving to Ireland. We're going to stop all of it. But here's the story. Here's the story. Take Carrier, nice and simple. And by the way, United Technologies, part of Carrier. The whole thing is a disaster. They're moving people. So many people moving to Mexico. We got to stop it. We're not going to have any jobs left. Mexico is the new China. Remember this. I love the Mexican people. I love the Hispanic people. But their leaders are too smart for our leaders. Our leaders don't have a clue. Frankly, our leaders are stupid, folks. They're stupid. So here's what we're going to do. And somebody will say, he is not conservative, because there's only one way to stop it. We're going to, and I know it doesn't sound presidential, and I can pick one of my killer negotiators because I know the greatest in the world. Carl Icahn, the great businessman, just endorsed me. I have many other business people endorsing me. They say I'm the only one that knows what I'm talking about, which is true, because I deal with Rubio. I deal with Cruz. These guys don't know anything. They have no clue what's going on, I'm telling you. So I have the big business leaders, the great business leaders, the people that made billions. They don't want money. We have political hacks doing our negotiation. Here's what we're going to do. I'd like to do it myself. I know it's not presidential. They're going to say, that is not presidential. I know I'm the president of the United States, and I call up the head of Carrier. And I start talking to him about 1,400 jobs. The president's not supposed to be doing that, but I'll do it anyway, okay? All right, you mind? You know what? It's too easy. I don't want to give it. We're going to have the greatest negotiators in the world. I know them all. I know the good ones. I know the bad ones. I know the underrated ones that are better than everybody and nobody knows who they are. I know the ones that are highly overrated, that you think are good and no good or not great. Everybody's better than what we have. You know, these are the biggest deals in the world. These are bigger than any company deals. These are deals in the trillions and trillions. Trans-Pacific Partnership, a disaster. It's a disaster. We're giving our country away. That's going to be a disaster. So here's what I'm going to do. The president, sir, is calling you. The president of what? The president of the United States. Oh, he's calling me. Now, here's the head of Carrier. Yes, Mr. President. Whatever your name is, here's the story. You just left 1,400 great people who've worked for you for many years. They've done a great job. They built up your brand. They've done a great job. And you can negotiate with them for wages and all that stuff. You can even move to another part of our country if you have to. But let me tell you something. If you don't move back, we're going to have to talk. And they're going to say, we cannot do that, sir. Okay, good. Here's the story. We are going to charge you a 35% tax on every air conditioning unit that you send across the border to the United States. Every single one. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. If you have one of these lightweight guys, they're brokers, essentially. I call them brokers. But they're lobbyists or they're special interest guys, a lot of power. You see that in the debates where the whole room was filled up with special interests. And I'm self-funding. I'm not getting anything from these people. So I'm the only guy. I had my wife and a few of my kids in the room, and I heard them clapping like crazy. But we have a room loaded up with special interests and lobbyists. So here's what's going to happen. With them, they'll say, and they know it's a bad deal, but with them, they're going to get a call, and that's the end of it. Carrier moves, Carrier bills, Carrier does fine, that's the end, and we take the brunt of it. But here's what's going to happen with me. They're going to call me, people are going to call me, friends. I didn't take any of their money. I owe nobody nothing, folks, nothing. You know, N-U-T-T-I-N. Nothing, nothing, nothing. So here's the story. They're going to call me, and I'm going to say, I'm sorry. They're going to have people call me. I'm going to say, hey, I'm sorry. Not going to happen, folks. Not going to happen. And within 24 hours, I will get a call back, probably from the head of Carrier. And he's going to say, Mr. President, I'd like to inform you that we are not going to move out of the United States. We're going to stay where we are, or move to Ohio, or move to someplace else. We'll move to Michigan. We'll move to New York. We'll move to someplace. As long as it's in the United States, folks. And that's what's going to happen, as sure as you're sitting there. Ford Motor Company is building a $2.5 billion plant. I've been speaking about this for over a year. $2.5 billion. You know what that is on a one-story building? Do you have any idea how big $2.5 billion is in Mexico? They're building a massive plant to build cars, trucks, and parts. They're going to sell them all over, but they're selling a lot of them into the United States. Now, how does it help us for Ford to build a plant, close up factories in Michigan and other places, and have this massive plant? It doesn't, okay? The only way, and I'm very good at this stuff, I went to the great Wharton School of Finance, which really is the best school in the world for this, but that's okay. Most people agree. Hardest school to get into, I can tell you, but it's one of the great, great places. But you don't have to. If you didn't go to college, if you didn't go to high school, you're all smart. It's a horrible deal for us. So with Ford, I'd do the same thing. I'd say, if you want to move, that's okay, but you got to pay a 35% tax. And you know, honestly, folks, they're not going to even think about it. Now, I'll be criticized. They'll say, isn't that disgusting? He's not a free trader. Folks, we're losing our ass. We're getting killed. We're getting killed. We're getting killed. Our companies are just, we're like the bully that just gets beat up by everybody. We are losing millions of jobs, millions, not thousands, millions and millions of jobs. We're going to stop. We're going to bring our jobs back from China. We're going to bring our jobs back from Japan, where they sell us cars by the millions, and we give them practically nothing. You want to see a trade imbalance? Take a look at what we take from Japan and what we give them back. It's a joke, okay? So what a lot of people don't understand, and what I understand better than anybody, we have the cards. We have the cards. Because without us, they would have a depression the likes of which you've never seen. We have to a certain extent, untie ourselves with some of these horrible deals we've made. We've got to make better deals, stronger deals, smarter deals. And you know what? China, and I do a lot of business with China. I've made a lot of money dealing against China. Not with them, against them. Against them. But China doesn't respect us. They make a fortune. We have rebuilt China. It's the greatest theft in the history of the world, what they've done to us. They've taken everything. Our money, our jobs, our manufacturing. Boeing is now building massive plants in China. Then they're going to devalue their currency, and all of a sudden, in South Carolina and in Seattle and in the different places, all of a sudden they're going to say, well, we're not making too many planes. They're going to make them in China. I know exactly what's going to happen. And they wouldn't have done the plant except when they made a big order from China. China said, we're going to order these 300 planes, but we want you to build a massive plant. And I know what's going to happen. Once the plant is built, they're going to devalue their currency more. It's going to be impossible for the American people to compete with that, and we're going to lose all those jobs. Not going to happen, folks. We're not going to let it happen, okay? We're not going to let it happen. So nobody knows this stuff better than me, and believe me, we're going to stop the outflow of our companies. We're really losing a lot. We have corporate inversions where companies are going out to get cash. You know, we have $2.5 trillion at least. I think it's double that number. That's a government number, and the government has no idea about numbers. We have $2.5 trillion at least outside of this country. The Democrats agree we should bring it immediately back. The Republicans agree that we should bring. Everybody agrees. It's not like a health care where they don't agree or something. Everybody agrees. Corporate inversion. Everybody agrees we should bring the money back. For years, they can't get an agreement. You know why? We don't have a leader. We don't have a president. I could make that deal in 10 minutes. I get the Republicans, I get the Democrats, without having to sign an executive order, by the way, okay? Which is not the way it's supposed to work. So what we need is leadership. So coming down, I said, I'm going to be so great on trade. I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I will be. I will. But then, I'm very focused on our security. And I really started much more so with the borders. But then after the Paris attack, which was horrendous, and after the attack in Los Angeles and the attack, all of these attacks, but after the attack in California where the 14 people were killed by 2 radicalized people, They became radicalized. She radicalized him. Whatever the hell happened, they ended up killing their co-workers, and plenty of people right now in the hospital that are going to be in bad shape for the rest of their lives because these two horrendous animals did that, okay? Animals. Now, what happened with Paris, the toughest gun laws in the world, Paris, the toughest. You don't have a gun in Paris unless you're a bad guy, then you have a gun. You put a gun in your pocket, nobody's going to do it. You can't have a gun in Paris. You can't have a gun in France. The toughest laws, they say, in the world. So what happens is these thugs walk in that they press called the mastermind, and I said, stop calling him the mastermind. He's a dirty rut. I called him the guy with the dirty hat, right, the white hat. I said, stop calling, and you know, they really have, because the big complaint is they're taking our youth over the internet. When you start calling people masterminds, our kids come up and they say, Dad, the mastermind. Oh, the mastermind. He's a brilliant guy, mastermind. He's a moron, this guy. I guarantee you this. And I said, don't do it. And you know, the press has stopped using the term mastermind now. But they said the mastermind, he's the leader. And they build him up like Robin Hood, right? Oh, that's great. What's with it? They send in people to the various places in Paris. There are no guns on the other side. And they go, bum, bum, you get over here, bum, you get over here, bum. 130 people killed. Many, many people right now in the hospital, gravely, gravely wounded. So badly wounded that their lives can never be the same. Other people will be dying from the wounds. It was a horrific scene. And since then, it's not that I've pivoted, you've pivoted me. And every poll that comes out, they like Trump best on the military. They like Trump best with ISIS. They like Trump best on border security. And I think the reason is because right from the beginning, nobody questioned the fact that I was the best on the borders. Nobody questioned. And basically, what is this? It's an extension of the borders. Now, as you know, Sheriff Joe Arpaio from Arizona endorsed me last week. We don't get tougher on the border than Sheriff Joe, right? And he endorsed me. And Sarah Palin endorsed me last week. And Jeff Sessions, the great senator, who's an incredible guy, he endorsed me. And there's nobody better on the borders than Jeff. I mean, everybody's endorsing, and it's been incredible. I will say Jerry Falwell Jr. has had so much to do with my success with the evangelicals. And we're going to work hard, because I will tell you, the Second Amendment is being chipped away. And I tell you this, if there were guns in Paris or guns in California on the other side where bullets went in the other direction, you wouldn't have had those people killed. It would have been very minor by comparison. And we're going to save our Second Amendment. It's being chipped away at it. Chip, chip, chip. We're going to save it. And I'll tell you the other thing. Christianity is being chipped away at. Very rapidly chipped away at. And we're going to save it. And I've gotten such incredible support from the pastors and the ministers. And I had a meeting, and the meeting was amazing. I said, how many Christians do you think we have in this country? And it was sort of determined like 260 million. That's more than we have women, and it's more than we have men. So it's the biggest group. And yet, they're afraid to act. And I had it with them. Because their tax-exempt status will be taken away. Because during Lyndon Johnson's regime, or whatever you want to call it, during his tenure, they passed legislation where the churches can't get political. And I think it's unfair. Why shouldn't they be allowed to? And I said to some of the really great pastors that have been so incredible and so supportive, Pastor Jeffress has been incredible, all of them. Pastor Paula White, she's been incredible. So many of them. I said to them, I said, you know, in a way you have less power than a person walking down the street because you're afraid to do anything. And you can't really fight for Christianity and all it stands for because of some law that they take away your tax-exempt status. We're going to change that. We're going to get rid of that legislation that was passed by President Johnson. We're going to take care of it. And believe me, I will be doing it. And just a little thing, but it's to me very important. At Christmas time, we're going to walk into stores and we're going to be saying Merry Christmas again. Remember that. Just remember that. So, just to finish up, it's so important that on the 15th you get out. Today's such a big day. And I shouldn't be here because I shouldn't be thinking about this. I should be thinking about tonight. But Ohio is so important to me, especially the great relationship that I've had, you know, being here and staying here and being here for summers, and I loved it. It's special. But I'm here because it is so important. I'm going to be back. I'll be back. We have a 2-week period. But winning Ohio is so important. It's going to send a signal like nothing else. Winning Ohio is so, so important. So we have to get it. But let me just tell you, Hillary Clinton does not have the strength or the stamina to become president. I'm telling you that. It's true. Do you ever notice she goes to a meeting and then you don't see her for 5 days, and then she goes to another and everything's set up? They interview the people before they ask the questions. We aren't doing that. But she doesn't have the strength or the stamina to be president. She doesn't have the strength or the stamina to negotiate with the Chinese great trade deals. It won't happen. She doesn't have the strength or the stamina to deal with Mexico. How about when Joe Biden apologizes to Mexico? Hey, we love Mexico. We love Mexico, but they're killing us on trade and they're killing us at the border. And you know what? They should do something about it, because frankly, they could stop illegal immigration without even building a wall, but we're building the wall anyway just in case. But I'm going to get them to stop it without even building a wall. And then we have a president, a vice president, go out and apologize to a guy that used the worst word you can use, and he's apologizing. He's apologizing. And he's apologizing because he was angry at the United States when he's been ripping off the United States for years. It's not going to happen anymore, folks. It's not going to happen. So Hillary Clinton cannot do the job, number one. Number two, she shouldn't be allowed to do the job, because what she did was a criminal act. She shouldn't be allowed to run. Okay? She shouldn't be allowed to run. Now, polls are showing that I'm beating Hillary Clinton. Numerous polls have come out. And in all fairness, I haven't even started on that yet. I only did 4 weeks ago. You remember, she made a statement about me. She said, Donald Trump is sexist. And did I hit her? And believe me, I guarantee you, her husband said, don't ever do that again. That was they had a rough weekend. That was a rough weekend. But look, let me just tell you. We're doing great. USA Today poll, the Q poll, a lot of polls. One of the Fox polls just came out, and I'm beating Hillary. But I haven't even started on Hillary yet. Hillary cannot make America great. She was talking about something yesterday, making America whole. Whole. No, I don't want whole. I want great again. I want great again. I don't want whole. I think I'll use that as a commercial. We'll make a split screen. She'll be saying, we're going to make America whole, whatever that means. I don't think she knows what it means. We're going to make America whole, and I'll be saying, we're going to make America great again. I think we will. So, again, I love you people. I love you people, special people. I love the people of this country. That's why I'm doing this. I didn't need this. I didn't need to do this, okay? Forget the money. I don't care about the money. This is a lot of work, believe me. Somebody said, you have the greatest energy of any human being I've ever seen. But this is a lot of work. But I do it because this country has been so good to me. We're going to bring back our country. We're going to start winning again. We're going to win, win, win. We're going to win so much. I jokingly say, we're going to win here. We're going to win with trade. We're going to win with the military. We're going to win with Obamacare. We're getting rid of it. We're repealing it, replacing it. We're going to win with Common Core. We're replacing it. We're getting rid of it. And we're bringing our education back. We're going to win at our borders. They're not longer going to be Swiss cheese. We're going to win, win, win. You're going to win so much. You're going to call and say, please, Mr. President, We're so tired of winning. We're so bored. Please, can't we lose a little bit? And I'm going to say, no way, no way. We're going to make America great again. I love you. I love you, folks. Thank you. And thank you to Chris Christie. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.